Well, hello there, beautiful people. Maria Green here from Sparkle Bums Nail Dips. I'm going to do this video today because the number one question I get asked all the time is, how do you put your nail dips on? How do I use these? So I'm going to do this quick video, how to put on the Sparkle Bums Nail Dips. So there's a couple things that are absolutely essential when putting on dip powders: dip base coat and dip activator. Now, unfortunately, I don't have my own branded dip liquids yet. So in the meantime, you can go to the store and get other brands of dip base and dip activator. This one from Gelish is very good. There's this kit you can get from Walmart from Kiss. And then another brand I really like is this Beauty Secrets, also from Sally Beauty. Dip powder primer is always helpful, but it's not necessary. It does help get your nail ready for the dip liquids to be put on and helps it to stay better in the long run. Of course, you'll need Sparkle Bums Nail Dip. You can choose any color you like. For this video, we're going to do a solid color. You'll also want some plain clear acrylic powder, especially if you're doing a glitter shade, but I like to do it with solids as well. You'll need a top coat of any brand you like. Some kind of really soft brush. And any manicure tools that you find helpful, like an emery board, a buffer, nail clippers, toothpick, and even a nail stick. So the first thing you're going to want to do is prep your nail. And trust me when I say don't skip this step. It's really going to help the application to stay longer and better on your nail so that you'll have a better application. Use a coarse emery board to shape the nail how you like and scuff up the tops of the nail surface. This will help give the powder some grip. Continue with all the rest of your nails. Then, if you have primer, then put a little bit of primer on each one of your nails. It dries really quickly. If you don't have primer, some isopropyl alcohol will work just fine. Now it's time to dip your. Brush on a very thin coat of base. For the first coat, it's really important to stay away from the cuticles. Start about 2 to 3 millimeters away from your cuticle line and brush towards the end of your nail. This will help your manicure stay beautiful longer. While it's still wet, dip the nail into the powder. Tap off the excess and then use a brush to very lightly wipe off the extra powder. If you wipe too hard, it will clump the powder and pull it off of your nail. Use a toothpick or a nail stick to clear away any edges or to push your cuticle line back a little further. Then we'll go in for a second coat. This time, start a little bit closer to the cuticle line and apply another thin layer of base liquid. And dip again. Tap off the excess and then use your brush to very lightly brush off the excess powder. If you want a third coat, you're just going to repeat the process again, getting closer to the cuticle line every time. It helps to push back the cuticle line in between your coats so the dip powder doesn't stick to the cuticle itself, which will cause separation and lifting later on. It's important to know that you don't need to do 3 layers of color. You can just do 1 or 2, depending on your desired level of opacity. Just remember that your final layer of color should be as close to the cuticle as possible without touching it. I like to always put a final layer of clear acrylic over top of my nails. With solid colors, it's not really necessary, but I think it looks nice. And if you're putting glitters on, it's absolutely vital to do a final layer of clear acrylic on top. I have this recycling system so that I don't have to dip straight into my clear powder and thus contaminate for future applications. So again, just put on the base liquid as close to the cuticle as possible without touching it in a very thin layer. And since I don't want to contaminate my clear, I'll do a pour over right over top of my recycler. Make sure that I get powder in all the spots. And I'll just tap it off right into that recycler there, and then use my brush to wipe off the excess. Now, if you were to touch the application right now, you would notice that it's not hard. And so the last thing we need to do before we can move on to the next nail is apply an activator, which will help take the acrylic powder and melt it together and harden it up. Just brush a thin layer right on there, wait 10 to 15 seconds, and then brush another little layer on there. Now you're just going to repeat the steps for each one of your nails. Using your emery board, shape and smooth around the edges of your nail. You'll also notice that the surface of your nail feels a little bumpy. If they're very lumpy, use a coarse emery board to file them down until they're smooth. But if they're just a little rough, then you can use a very fine emery board or even a buffer to just smooth it out. After you've finished shining and buffing, go wash your hands with soap and water to get all of the extra dust off of your hands. Remember to dry them very well before you come back for top coat. And finally, apply 2 coats of top coat to the top of your nail. You can use any top coat that you prefer. And there you have it. Dip powder nails that look beautiful and will last weeks and make your nails stronger. Thanks for watching my video. I hope it helped. Remember, you can find all of my beautiful nail dips at sparklebumsnailart.etsy.com. Thanks, everyone.